is Marcia's report.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Here he is. Let's see what he says. Okay. He says it's live now.
Okay, I got 7 o'clock. So, turn your microphone on there. You got your microphone on? So I will call this meeting to order and ask everybody to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so everybody's aware Sue Slater is joining us by telephone. Do you need some help?
Is that the meeting about the?
Oh, yes, come on in.
Yeah?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
maybe.
hi.
I'm so sorry.
This is for the driveway,
Ah.
the cut.
Okay. So Sue is here by telephone. We don't have any presentations. Our announcements and informational items on the coronavirus. Brookfield is now in the yellow, and it looks like we're rapidly moving into the orange. That's not good in the coronavirus. The primary driver of that is the Delta variant, which is much more transmissible and has a higher rate of getting people sick. I'm not a medical professional, but getting people sick more quickly. The virus load in people with the Delta variant increases much more rapidly than the other variants. So we still ask people to be fair and be careful. And if at all possible, if you are not, again, so people know in town hall, if you are not vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask when you come into any of the town buildings. If you're vaccinated, that's not required at this time. The governor sends out guidance on almost a daily basis on this, but we'll wait to see where we go towards the end of the week, because they send a updated report out on Thursday nights. We'll look at it Friday and then make some decisions from there. Our hope is that we do not have to impose any more restrictions or go back to restrictions for anyone. While everyone is tired on this, we're just going to do what we have to do to keep people safe. Any comments?
No,
Sue, anything on that for you? No?
No, obviously safety is, most important.
Right.
And you're right, we're all tired of it, but we're all gonna get past it, and it's just gonna be going to
Yeah. So, next, we have Coffee with the Community will be on Saturday, August 31st, from 9 to 10:30 a.m. at Bagel Man's.
point of order.
Yes.
It's not the 31st. 31st is a Tuesday.
Really? Let's look at that.
Is that wrong?
Got it. August 31st is a Tuesday. Okay, August, I will change that to 29th.
Jesus.
Sorry.
And Steve, the location change?
Yeah, and the location was not Bagel Man. We're going to go to the Brookfield Market, right?
Not the Brookfield Market, that new place next to, across the street now?
Chocolate and
Yeah,
coffee.
that's the
Yeah.
Brookfield Market.
That's the Brookfield Market, but the.
No.
Yeah, across from the Craft Center.
Okay,
No.
Parsons and
No,
Crescent.
it's not the,
Is that,
this is coffee, the new place is gonna be the coffee and chocolate where we had it.
We already did that. I'm talking about next door to that.
it is called the Brook, there is a market there, that market.
There's a market
Oh,
there.
okay,
There is a market there,
They have tables, a deli,
yeah.
okay.
sell food, sodas, lottery tickets. It's a nice place at the Brookfield Market. So, to repeat, it will be on the 29th of August from 9 to 10:30.
28th of August.
28th, I'm sorry, you're right, I'm looking at Sunday, 28th of August, get this right? At the Brookfield Market, which is in the town center, next to the coffee and chocolate place and across the street from the Craft Center,
Yes.
okay? And we encourage anyone who wishes to stop by and talk to the selectmen. Quick update in the Pocket Park. We're doing phase 3 right now of the streetscape, which runs from where the hearth is up Old Route 7 or that's Old Route 7, I think, where the dry cleaners is and the medical building is. There is a piece of property that abuts where the streetscape will go, that looks like it almost be in the hearth. You know, it's an island. And we had originally tried to include that in the Phase 3 streetscape, but the state came back to us at the last minute and said, whoa, hold on, you've got to buy this property from us. Now, the last time we bought a piece of property from the state, it took almost 2 years to do it. It was accompanied by a lot of delays, and we didn't want to delay Phase 3, so we took it out of the project. We'd like to now just inform people, we're going to try to buy that piece of property from the state, hopefully for $1. The state has no use for this piece of property, 6,000 square feet, about 30 by 30, and then reinstitute putting a pocket park in there with a sculpture and some nice bushes and seating and things like that. So we just wanted to make people aware of that as we move forward. So there was no correspondence addressed to the Board of Selectmen this month. And for a monthly financial update, I will go to Marcia.
You've received our written update that we have, we're essentially working on June 30th. It takes a lot because that's the end of our fiscal year. We're closing the books. Today was the last day that we asked all departments to have their invoices in. We'll start, because it takes some time for the vendors to send them, and so now we'll start closing down purchase orders and get a good handle on that. We've got to reconcile the balance sheets. We've got to do the year-end journal entries. We hope to have all that done by August 31st. So that we can present the financial statements to the auditors when they come in mid-September. But there's no surprises. It's as we've anticipated. Every month we go through the numbers and we project where we think we'll be at the end of the year. We should be better than where we think because everyone has to come in under budget. And so we just don't know what all those under budgets will add up to in total.
But an initial cut at it shows that we're going to be about $570,000, $580,000 over budget on revenue in total?
That's correct. We did the budget for revenues based on the first 6 weeks of COVID, and things had come to a stop. We were concerned that they would come to a stop for the year. Who knew that COVID would actually help our revenues between the grants and the building permits
Right.
and the sale of property. We are in good shape there.
Yeah. So at that time, a year ago, March, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance made a determination that we didn't think we'd get building permits. We thought a lot of the things that we do in town would slow down or stop. So being conservative, the boards cut our estimates for the revenue we would get from conveyance fees for selling houses, from building permits. We cut those. We cut almost all of those fees down from the prior year, and we were wrong.
Well, we did
Houses.
it based on the percentages that they had
Yeah.
gone down
We-
at
but
that time.
We were wrong. Wrong in a good way. Conveyances, people's houses started selling like crazy. We started getting conveyance fees. People were putting on decks, people were repairing things, people were putting in pools. So all those things continued, and so we came up about $580,000 more than we had budgeted. But if we had used the same budget as the prior year, we probably would have been up about 225,000. But we were very conservative in our budget estimates because we did not want to end the year in the negative. Nobody wants to get an additional appropriation for taxes, do they? No, I don't think so. I see some no's. So that's a good thing. And we're going to come in under budget on our expenses. But we don't have the final numbers yet. The auditors have been in, right? They haven't found anything to concern themselves with. And so we are still on target for completing all of our audit and budget by the December, which is, remember last year was the first year we got it done by December? And now we'll have it again. Marcia, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay. Sue, any questions?
No. The only thing maybe is when we were anticipating the cost for the COVID, and I know we're getting to that several months for that, we had almost anticipated that we would go into August with St. Joe's.
Mhm.
So how, and I know we, ended earlier than that. So is that savings that we're seeing that you would maybe budgeted for, or what was the actual cost of St. Joe's, you know?
St. Joe's is about $400 a day, and we did that for about 10 weeks, but virtually all of that is covered by grants that
Right.
we've gotten. So,
So we have grant money that we could use.
oh, yes, yes,
Oh,
we have lots of grant money.
okay.
We're trying to find an expense. Harry, any comments
No,
about
fine.
finance?
I'm
Okay. Okay, new items. There is a request for an additional driveway curb cut. Residents of 4 Patricia Drive are requesting an additional curb cut onto Patricia Drive, and approval is required by the Board of Selectmen. Are you the people, would you like to tell us about what you want? Could you come down to the microphone and talk to us? Can you check and make sure that thing's, Marcia, could you do me a favor, check and make sure that's on, you're the closest.
Steve, can you explain what a curb cut is?
A cut in the road, like for a driveway.
Oh, okay.
I think these people, they have one that goes in their driveway. They want to make a circle and make another one. Is that working?
Stand this because
Yeah,
it's not a
that's-
circle.
that's what
They're
they
just
want.
gonna come in front.
Is it working now?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Marcia.
The board never does that unless there's health or safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's
Yeah,
like
go
you
ahead.
say, we already have like one cut, and we just want to do a slide for the,
Yeah, we see your
Left.
picture.
yeah, I leave the picture.
Can I ask, go ahead.
So this is the existing driveway
Yes.
here, and they're looking to have it come in front of the house.
Yeah,
And what, are you closing the other driveway, or is it just gonna be 2 entrances?
I'm sorry, I didn't
Will there
hear.
now be 2 entrances, or are you gonna do something with this other part of the driveway, where there still be 2 entrances?
Yeah,
Okay.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Why do you want
And the
this?
reason for doing
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
yeah, for safety, since we think it's more safe, since it causes a lot of, it may cause some accidents, like getting back from the driveway, and we have a lot of kids, dogs coming out, buses and everything, and also for more space, because our driveway is very little, and we are not having enough space for the cars.
Yeah. I have to tell you, in the past, the Board of Selectmen has never approved a curb cut unless there was a clear health or safety issue. I don't see that here. I know it would be more convenient for you to be able to come in and just pull right out. But if every single house in town did that, we'd have twice the number of driveways and cuts, which would be less safe, I think, than what we have right now. Harry, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, the problem with doing this is that it really, I mean, it does not appear that it would be a safety issue, because you're gonna have to, either way, you're gonna have to be backing out. The problem is, without there being either a health issue or a safety issue, it does open the door for anybody who simply wants another driveway to have the town, make the cut for them. And it would just, it could end up turning into,
Yeah, if you set that precedent.
right, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Okay, so do you think maybe instead of it like completely open to the road, maybe just a space where we can like turn the car?
you mean pull in
Yeah.
and be able to back?
yeah,
Sure, you can do that in
Yeah.
front of yours.
Yeah,
Just can't put a cut in
Okay.
the
to
road.
the road,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
so if you wanted to, you still have to go through the process, but you could come in front of your house and stop.
You're
And you
talking
could
about
back-
doing it
Yes.
from the existing driveway.
Yeah, the existing driveway's here, so they come over here, stop,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm not sure that's.
As long as you
Yeah,
don't
it's a-
Oh, is that what you're
curve
saying?
back.
Yeah,
Right,
So it's just not gonna be onto the road,
yeah.
just a little onto the front.
And you do have the right to do that. as
Yeah.
You get the zoning approval and everything.
Oh.
You do have the right to do
so
that.
when you drive into your driveway, you would be able to put a parking area in the front of your home.
Right,
And you could make it a 2-car if you wanted to, enough for 2 cars or
yeah.
whatever.
Okay, and then I have to
Yeah,
get a
couldn't
permit at the zoning.
Go back to Public Works with that.
Okay.
Yeah, you go back to Public Works and
Yeah, you shouldn't have any issue with that.
they can tell you the issues, what you need to do to get that approved, and go ahead and do that.
Okay.
But at this point in time, I'm not inclined to approve of
I agree.
another curb cut. Sue?
No, I would agree too, and I'm kind of looking at the drawing here, and, you know, I don't know if it's gonna be any safer, you know, there's hedges there that aren't too far from where the driveway's gonna be exiting with a new cut.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think we found a
So
good,
they've got a lot of plans for this house, and,
yeah.
I don't think this is one that would pass, what, you know, why we would have a cut.
Yeah. But we just discussed, they could put a, you know, make a cut, make a left, go in their driveway, make a left, Sue, in front of the house, and put a little parking area there, and that's fine. That would be fine, and we'll meet your needs,
Okay.
okay? So
Okay.
at this point in time, I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen not approve this curb cut. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with it. You're welcome.
Okay. Updates. You know, we've had some discussions, and I would I'll make a motion first, and then we can have a discussion. I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen decline to put to allow a cell tower on the Public Works property at this point in time. I think in talking to Ray Vergati, the gentleman who's heads up Homeland Towers and does this, they have a number of sites that they could put this on, and they've been negotiating with. This is for 55 years, the lease that they're asking for. They would pay us about $21,000 a year. It would impinge on our Public Works site, not terribly, but we never know what we're gonna do in the future. And given that Ray has said that they have other sites that they can use, I'm comfortable because our police and fire departments always want more communication. They always want more cell towers, they always want more places to connect to. They both support a cell tower there, and I think we do too, but I think it might be better fit in one of the commercial sites down there, close to the Public Works garage. There are a lot of commercial buildings down there, commercial properties, that it could go on.
In Brookfield.
In Brookfield, yeah. Yeah. Even in Danbury,
Well,
because
yeah,
they're looking to
I mean,
get
'cause
that going up
Yeah.
Federal Road.
Is there existing tower
What?
on commercial?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, we can't. That's okay.
no, you can get up at the end and make
Yeah.
public comment?
Just make a note, and at the end, you can.
Make a note, and then we'll ask you to come up and make public comment. So at this point in time, I would say we just table this, right?
Why wouldn't, we wouldn't table it. We wouldn't table it. We
Yeah,
would-
no, right, we would just say that at this
Right.
point in time, we're not interested,
Right.
right?
Now, the only thing is that if they're planning on doing it across the street or somewhere else, I mean, I think in our minds, we just didn't want a big looking tower there because it's also near some homes.
That's true.
But how close is the other position, you know, other properties that they're looking at?
Depends on where they would pick, so you could always go all the way down to where, you know, you make a right onto Gray's Bridge. That property. You know, it has that cruise place in it, you know what I'm talking about? Before the mobile station. You make a right on Gray's Bridge, there's a property right there on the
Yeah.
right, they could put it there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places they could put it down there.
So that would be quite noticeable
Yep.
as you're going through that area.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying, I mean, I'm not a fan of the cell tower either, but I just wonder if at least where it is proposed, that it would be tucked in a little bit. Although it's still,
yeah, you could think of it that way, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be 165 feet tall, which is taller than the one we have here at Town Hall.
I know, it's huge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want to see it along that stretch. I would want to see it where, you know,
Yeah,
See, does, in order,
this is not going to be enough.
in order for our emergency services to be able to take advantage of this, does it have to be in Brookfield?
no,
Could it be over in Brook? in
no, it
Lincoln
could be
Valley?
anywhere. Anywhere
And
that
it
they
would-
can reach it with
Yeah.
their,
I mean, I would like to not table this. I would like to say, vote no on this, and then have them, and then see if there is a place in another town. I
Okay.
mean, we're making 20 grand on this, to me, it's
Okay.
not worth it.
Tom, you-
But I also don't want,
You also, we have to also, we don't get to say no. We can say no, but
right,
Pura makes this decision.
right.
Citing council.
But I want to make
Right.
it clear that I'm
Wait a
not
minute,
trying.
Tom wants to make a comment. Let's,
So two things. Steve made a motion to decline having the cell tower on this site. The motion was made, nobody seconded yet.
right,
The second item is that it's the Connecticut Siting Council that reviews cell towers and the appropriateness of their location. They allow for local comment, including a referral to the zoning commission. But ultimately, the Connecticut Siting Council will determine whether a site is appropriate, and the town could be an intervening party in a proceeding if they so chose.
yeah, but the owner of the
okay.
property does not have to give them access to their property.
The owner, yeah, they
We're
have
the
to
owner
find
of
a
this
willing
property.
owner
Right.
first.
Yeah,
Right.
Let me
Right.
second the motion so that we can,
well, let me withdraw my motion, you can make
Okay.
another one.
Okay. I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen deny the project going where it is now,
Okay,
or however you want to word it.
yeah, you're making a motion for the
Right.
town to say.
To
this
say
is-
no.
We're not interested in renting, leasing property to Homeland Towers at this point in time, right?
Right.
I'll second that. Sue, any further comment?
No?
I have one comment.
Sure.
I don't want to put, people's safety, underneath $20,000.
No.
If it was something that was going to be critical where our EMS couldn't get a hold of people, or it was a real safety issue, that would be different. It doesn't sound like that is the case.
Right.
So if they can come up with other locations possibly out of town, that's one less structure that we have to have in town.
Yep.
So, but again, I don't want to jeopardize our safety. of our-
And to clarify, we've both spoken to both our chief of police and the chief of our fire department. They are always wanting more additional support and communications capability, but this is not a critical need. It's not like they drive down there and they can't communicate. They can.
And there is there could be a possibility that they could put it in Bethel and it would still reach us, so.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. Anything further, Sue? I think you said you didn't have anything further.
No, I've never.
Okay. All those in favor of Harry's motion? Aye.
Aye.
All those, aye, so it carries 3-0.
Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay. Great. Okay. Before we get into the ARPA ad hoc, why don't we, I'd like to make a motion to add the discussion on the fire truck that we tabled at the last meeting to this meeting. Do I
I'll
have a
second.
second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. So, we had a conversation with Andy Ellis, the chief of the fire department, at our last meeting. They, in their normal capital budget that they've been giving to the town for I don't know how many years, at least 6 that I'm aware of, there is the replacement of a truck next year, right? In order to replace that truck next year, they have to order it this year. It's about a 12-month delivery cycle. They are going to put up their share now as a deposit, and they're looking for a commitment from the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance that we would support this in next year's budget. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yes.
And since this has been in the budget, we have been reserving money for years for these projects. I think that's a reasonable thing to do, to say that this Board of Selectmen supports the 10-year capital plan that we put together, and that we would support putting this in the capital budget in the 22-23 budget,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I had asked to table this because we had just gotten the proposal, not the proposal, but the information, and I wanted to thank the fire company for being patient and understanding. It just gives us a time to make sure we have all the information and we've read it. This is actually kind of textbook as to how the best way to budget your money, it's a 20-year plan. We're coming right up to that time, so it's really on schedule. And I would encourage anybody who has not visited Central Station to go and visit. We went, Tara and I went last week,
Yeah.
and it's as professional and well-equipped as a town can be. We are very safe when it comes to
Yeah.
EMS and fire, so I just wanted to give them the little
Yeah,
pat on the back.
for a volunteer fire company, the amount of work they do and the quality of the work they do is just phenomenal. So I've talked to Andy Ellis about this, and he's very comfortable
Yeah.
with our plan,
Yeah.
very comfortable, and so is the rest of the board. So we want to allow them to, and support them in purchasing this truck. And so I don't think we really have, we can make a motion that this board, it may be a different board, right?
Yeah.
Come December, but I would make a motion right now that this board support this project as it is in our budget. It is in the 10-year capital budget. It has been planned for many years, and it's part of our normal capital replacement. And they do those on a 20-year basis. And one of the reasons they do it on a 20-year basis is because you lose an IFPA rating, which means it's very difficult to insure your trucks. You just have to rotate over that 20-year cycle. Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
There is already a motion on the floor that you're now taking off the table, which was the motion that the selectmen are committed to approve the replacement of Engine 5 in next year's budget and forward that to the Board of Finance, and that was actually seconded already, so the motion's actually back on the floor now.
Okay. So technically, yes, you're correct. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have a motion. We had a second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carries 3-0. Okay. The ARPA Ad Hoc Committee. We have 10 residents who have offered to sit on our ARPA committee, which will advise the town on which projects and programs we should undertake, given the ARPA money that the federal government has given the town, which is just over $5 million. There are a lot of requirements and rules as to what you can use this funding for, but it's primarily to go to support the town in the response to the pandemic and the coronavirus. There are numerous, hundreds of different interpretations as to how best to support the town to do that. So what we thought is form a committee, have the committee take in all ideas. We've gotten a number of ideas from a number of people, and sift through those ideas, see which ones make the most sense, see which ones would do the best job in addressing the pandemic and restoring the town to its former pre-pandemic state, performing resiliency and support for our residents going forward. And so we've gotten 10 people who would like to sit on this board, and I would make the following motion, that we nominate Ray DeStefan, Frank Farrell, Stephen Harding Jr., who is our state representative, Jeff Cass, Mark Loengart, Jen Menendez, Jerry Myers, Henry Pietras, Colette Sturm, and Ellen Young to sit on this committee, and that the members of the boards and commissions that we asked to support this project: Paul Checo from Municipal Building, Rosa Fernandez from the Board of Ed, Jim Fisher from Economic Development, Glenn Rooney from the Board of Finance, and Renee Santiago from Parks and Rec, be appointed liaisons from those boards to the committee. They can join the committee at any meetings that they have and give any comments that they would like to have. And I would also, at this point in time, nominate Colette Sturm to be the chair of this committee, so that they have somebody who has experience in running meetings and organizing groups of people. Colette has significant experience acting as both the head of Brookfield Cares and as previously as the chairman of the Board of Ed. Do I have a second on that?
Second?
Okay, a second. Any further discussion?
Did we get a copy of the 10? I don't remember getting a copy
Yeah,
of
it's
the
in
10.
it's in your budget.
In your packet.
Oh,
It's in the packet, which was ready
Yeah,
last week.
oh, that's right.
So all their bio briefs are in there. These are all some great people, right? And we thank them for stepping up.
The, so they're going to make recommendations to us?
Right.
Correct? There's no voting going on, correct? Or
They
do
would,
vote?
they'll vote
Narrow down.
to list
Yeah.
in what order they think is most important. Then it comes to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen makes a cut at it, and then I think we're required, we have to go to the Board of Finance to spend money, right, Tom?
That's correct. Any of these, anything coming out of that will have to go through the normal appropriations process.
Yeah. Which would be Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, which they could then look at it. But I think we really could use some help here. And I don't think that the Board of Selectmen alone should just make this decision on how to spend $5 million. I think we should get as much input from as many residents as possible.
Yeah. At this point, do we want to give them a timeline of when we'd like to hear back from them? I don't see
Yes.
that in the,
That's a good point. I think we could ask them to come back in 6 months. I think that's enough time to do that. Remember, we don't have to start spending this money until 2024, and we have until 2026 to spend it. So we do have time, and I think a careful consideration, given the amount of money it is well warranted.
yeah, absolutely.
Any,
And if they need more time, they need more time.
yeah, they can always come to us and ask us for more time.
And so the 5 board members would basically ex officio
Ex
members.
officio, everything but voting power, right? They can sit on it, make comment, support. And I think it's important to have them because like Glenn Rooney's on finance, he knows a lot about the finances of the town, right? Rosa knows a lot about the education in our schools. I think it's a good thing to do.
And they would be recommendations to us, we'd make the final decisions.
We make the final decision, then we would send it to the Board
Right.
of Finance and they would have to
Right.
agree or disagree.
Right.
Change the amount.
So they would get the final say.
They would get the final say, I think.
Okay.
Any further comments?
No?
Okay. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye?
Aye, carries 3-0. Great.
Kind of.
So we will contact all the ARPA committee members. Ginny will work on setting up a time for all of us to meet. We'll give them an overview and a charge of what the Board of Selectmen is looking for based on what we just said. And you guys are more than welcome to join that meeting. We'll probably take 2 to 3 weeks to set that up and give people time. Okay?
Great.
Okay. Our Code of Ethics ordinance. I'll make a motion here that the Selectmen approve the revised Code of Ethics ordinance as presented in the public hearing we had earlier today. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second. So we discussed this during the hearing we had at 6:45, but in order to apply for some federal grants, they require very specific language be in our Code of Ethics, and that is Section F of the proposed new Code of Ethics. And for the, I think for those who weren't here, let me just read it again. I know this is doing it twice, but there were a lot of people who weren't at the hearing. F. Okay, so this is, we would be adding Section F, awarding of town contracts. No officer or employee/employee shall participate in the selection, award, or administration of a town contract if he or she has a real or apparent conflict of interest. Such a conflict of interest would arise when the officer/employee, any member of his or her immediate family, his or her partner, or an organization which employs or is about to employ any of the parties indicated herein, has a financial or other interest in or a tangible personal benefit from a firm considered for a contract. The officer/employees of the town must neither solicit nor accept gratuities, favors, or anything of monetary value from contractors or parties to subcontractors. I think it's pretty straightforward, and it's a clarification of our Board of Ethics. I think it's a good idea. Sue, you have any comments on that?
No?
Harry?
fine with it?
No,
No?
it's basically having a board member recuse themselves if they have a family member or friend bidding on a project, and you would be making the decision on it.
Or even an employee?
Right, or employee, right.
Right. It clarifies and extends the group that is subject to this, and it meets the federal requirements.
Right.
Okay, not hearing any further comment, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favor of adopting the updated Board of Ethics ordinance
Okay.
signify by saying aye.
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 Carries 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda. I make a recommendation that the selectmen approve the items on the consent agenda. A, selectmen approval for routine matters, there's nothing. Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from July 12th and July 31st. We note that Gary Gramling, after 42 years, has retired from the police department, and Alex Stewart was promoted to assistant mechanic at the Public Works Department following retirement last month of another person. Driveway bond releases in the amount of $750 for 53 Elbow Hill, 1 Yankee Drive, 46 Knollcrest, 37 White Pine Drive, 20 Broadview Road, and there were no excavation bonds this month. Do I have a second to accept the consent agenda?
I'll second it.
Harry seconds. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to make a comment. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue.
No, I had nothing, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about Gary Gramling. Gary Gramling is like a cornerstone here in Brookfield.
Yeah.
He has really dedicated himself to safety, to the kids up at the high school. He is at different events. He's always at the football games. He just is very visible, and I'd like to personally thank him and just for all of his work and all of
Yeah.
the care he put into his position. He is going to be missed, and
hard
we
to
wish him the
replace.
best.
It's going to be hard to replace him because he was our youth officer, and he's one of the very first
Yeah.
people that was hired
Yeah.
by our
Yes.
police department, and we're going to miss him. He specifically asked for no big accolades or parties or anything like that because we would have had one for him, but he was insistent, no, I just want to retire, don't do that kind of stuff. And so we thank him for his service. Okay.
I would like to, second what Harry said, and also thank Gary for continuing on with the volunteer fire department.
Right.
Can't
That's true. He's the chief of that department, right? And has been for many years. I forgot that. Okay. So having made a motion and having a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen appoint Mike Lucia to fill a vacancy on the zoning commission for a term of 8/2/21 to 12/6/21 as recommended by the DTC. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries 3-0. Now, public comment. Ma'am, would you like to say something?
No, thank you.
You're sure? We answered your questions? Really? We're doing something right. Would anybody else like to make public comment? Yes? Yeah, come on up to the microphone.
Michael Del Valle, Apache Drive. This is in regards to the FERC application from Iroquois Gas Transmission
Yeah.
Compression Station. Do you know if it was approved, that they're going to double their output and ultimately their emissions from there?
Yeah.
800 yards from Wisconsin Middle School?
Yeah. Iroquois is applying to FERC for permission to enlarge their facility. FERC is the only entity that has the right or power to grant that or not grant it. They do not have to come to planning, they do not have to come to zoning, they don't have to do anything in the town.
Right.
I have been getting regular updates, but I have not seen an official approval by FERC for their plan.
Okay, I was just wondering the
Yeah.
status of it. That was it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Would somebody else like to make a public comment? Yes, please, come on in.
I'm not going over there.
No, you have to come here because we record it.
So now you make me feel like an ass.
No, we're not. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please?
Rose DeMarco, 20 Sunset Hill Road. I wanted to thank you for denying the request for the cell tower.
not just for me, but for the residents that live in that area. Second, on the list that you made of the residents that you are going to put
Contact?
on the committee
Yes.
for the spending the money, I've looked, ever since that came up, I've looked, did you put that out to residents and say who would want to?
Yes.
Because I didn't see it, so I didn't know how they were chosen.
Yeah, well, this people, we asked people, do you want to serve? It went out on a number of different, went out on Spotlight, went out on a number of
I
different
didn't
requests.
see it, so
Yeah.
if it did, I'll go back and
Yeah.
I'll look.
It was requested, because we didn't ask people to join the committee. These
Because
are all
it would-
volunteers.
Because for once, instead of spending the money, it would be nice if the town used the money to lower the taxes that we've all been paying. I know that, you're gonna be looking at that, but, despite COVID, we all suffered through COVID.
Yep.
Not just this business, that business, some other business, we all did.
Yeah,
So, wouldn't it be nice for once to just give a blanket to everybody, $200 or something
I think you could make that
to
suggestion
the
to the committee.
residents?
But in my interpretation of the IFR, which is the interim final rule, that's not allowed to just give people money.
Well, the government's
I
doing
do
it
think it could
now.
go towards the budget, isn't that correct?
We'd have to check with that, Sue. It's a very complicated
Even
rule.
if you got like half of it, I mean, our taxes, I know, Glenn told me they didn't go up that much this year, but
Yeah,
next year.
1.52%.
Once we start paying for the school,
We're already paying for the
it's,
school.
yeah, I know, but it's gonna skyrocket. It's gonna go out of control.
Rose, I think it is well worth looking into to see if it is,
You know?
if
So
it
it
is
was just-
possible.
We'll look
Just
into
a
it.
suggestion.
Yeah.
No,
It
that's,
took a lot for me to get up here and
thank
do
you.
that.
Well, Rose, thank you for coming up. But please do make, if you want, send it to my office, your suggestion, and we will include it for the committee to take it under consideration.
Yeah, absolutely, because once you get the money and you put it into a program, then you've got to keep that program up. Like, it's
That's the
nice to have a
problem.
park, but then you've got to maintain that park, so
Mm-hmm.
that's more money every year, and it just snowballs.
That's true, and
And-
one of the
and
things
then
we
we
want
all
this committee to
suffer.
do, don't
You
do
have
something
more
for
people
3
moving out of
years
Brookfield
that we
than
then have to fund $300,000 a year after that,
Right,
right? That's a very good consideration.
Thank you.
so, I appreciate it.
Thank you. So, would anybody else like to make public comment? Yes, please.
Janet LaForgia, Wisconsin Village. I don't know if this is the right venue, so if it isn't, I'll just sit down.
This
but
public comment, you can
Okay.
talk about almost
Um,
anything.
Federal Road, where the ShopRite
Mhm.
and Chick-fil-A
Chick-fil-A?
is
Right.
becoming really dangerous, just like it was with Costco, until Costco made the left lane to go into Costco. Is
You're
this-
lobbing one up here for me.
Yeah, this is
Okay, is
like,
it something that we're?
For 6 years,
Yes.
we've been after the
Okay.
state, for 6 years, to fix it. We finally got them to do it.
Yes.
So this year, they're moving the telephone poles. Next year, they will be widening the road, putting a left-hand turn lane into Chick-fil-A going north, putting a light at Beverly Drive, which is in between McDonald's and Costco. They will be taking where Ramen House, eminent domain, they're taking that house down. Then if you're coming from like the Y, you will now go to a new light that is across from like where O'Connor's is. So you won't have that sharp angle to come south on Federal Road. They're putting in sidewalks, they're putting in street lights, they're putting in bus stops. They're not doing the entire road, but those sections I just described, they're gonna spend just over
Mainly where the shopping is
Yep.
and where it really gets
to
crazy.
ease these problems. And we've been at them for 6 years, and we finally got them to do it.
Thank you.
they're also going to be doing one more down, the fourth location of that project is at the intersection where the First Assembly of God is. There's going to be
Yes.
another lane there. Old Brookfield Road, I think it is going to be one-way coming down,
Down.
so you're not going to be able to go up there, but that's going to be all reconfigured to ease traffic.
And it'll take one of the lights out there, so it'll speed traffic through that intersection.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to ask a similar question?
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Anybody else have a comment? Okay. I would make a motion to adjourn. Do I
I'll
have a
second
second? Harry seconds right away. Sue, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
All right, Steve, goodbye.
Good job. You're in the new car again, huh? You
Good
can't
night.
get you out of that thing.
Yeah. All right, take care.
Have a good night.
Bye, Sue.
Bye, Sue.